Hi guys, my name is Hannah Benson, and today I'm going to be doing a beautiful styling technique using my JRL tools. So I'm going to be using some of the incredible tools out of the JRL styling tool line today. So let's start with the big one, which is going to be our blow dryer. I love this one because I like to hold the nozzle. So this is my personal favorite. It's also super lightweight, and it also produces negative ions. So what does that do for the hair? What it's going to do is help eliminate frizz, and it's going to help blow dry the hair faster. I believe it's about 30% faster that this particular blow dryer blow dries the hair, which when we're working on thick curly hair, that's going to make a huge difference behind the chair. So that's going to be our blow dryer for today. I'm also going to be using some of my JRL clips to section her hair. I'm going to be using one of our styling combs to section it out as well. And then I'm also going to be using our round brushes. So I love these brushes for a couple reasons. So they're a mixed bristle brush, but this is the long version. So today I'm going to be using it in 2-inch. I'm going to be using both the standard size and the extra long brush. She's got a lot of hair, so this one's gonna help me really work through a lot of those sections, but some of the areas are a little bit tighter, and so I wanna make sure that I'm using my shorter brush as well, but we're gonna use multiples of this today, and I'm gonna show you how I do that. But I do wanna show you one super cool feature of this brush before we get started. This brush has some thermal technology to it where it's gonna change colors as you're working. So this is gonna help you know if the brush is hot or cold as we're doing our style. So as you'll see, it's gold here at the top and then black at the bottom. When I hit it with my blow dryer, you're gonna see that color change all to gold. So we're gonna be doing a beautiful voluminous round brush blowout. It's super important that we section this well so that we can get to her base and really stretch and smooth all of that curl pattern. So I'm gonna be sectioning in 5 sections today. This is important for me because a beautiful round brush blowout needs to have a nice sit around the face. So the first thing that I section out is that mohawk section so that I can smooth this in a different way than I smooth my other sections. So you see I've taken about 3 to 4 inches above the ear based on their head shape. And I'm going all the way back to the crown with this section. I'm using one of my styling combs here, the wider end, to be able to section this out in between all her dense hair. And I'm gonna section this off into a little Zulu knot. Perfect. Then we're gonna take that section straight down behind the ear to give us sections on either side of her head. And same thing, we're gonna tie this off in a Zulu knot just so it's up and away. It's also gonna help keep the hair moist while we're working on the other sections of her hair. For our back section, we're gonna be working our way up horizontally in 1-inch sections. So I'm gonna take the nape here and we're just gonna section out about 1 inch of hair. She's got a lot of texture, a lot of density, so I wanna make sure that I'm not taking too much hair at one time, and that's gonna allow me to get a really nice smooth blowout and get really close to the base here. So we'll just take the rest of her hair up and away. So we're gonna start in the nape here. And what we're really going for is she has beautiful, natural, curly texture. So we want to smooth the hair, but we still wanna leave a lot of that motion in the hair. We're not trying to smooth her completely straight. We wanna keep that wave and bend that she naturally has. So to do that, we're gonna use our round brushes. We're gonna use in the base here our 2-inch brush, but we're gonna use the long one. The great thing about this is we can actually get that entire section on the round brush. So that allows us to move through a lot faster. We're gonna think about this in 3 sections of this particular section. So A, B, and C. We always wanna make sure that we're getting A dry and smooth first, then working to B, then working to our ends here. So on our blow dryer, we have multiple ways to set this. So we have lots of options depending on the kind of hair we're working on. We have 3 different heat settings, we have 2 different speed settings, as well as a cool button. So this is gonna be great for customizing our blow dry to our client. Today I'm gonna be using our highest heat setting so that I can really get a nice smooth blowout. We're gonna be focusing on section A first. So I'm really pulling my brush nice and tight. I'm gonna have you bring your head down just a little. Don't be afraid to have your client move their head in a way that works better for you. They're gonna like the end result better if you really get around. So because now she's pulling her hair with a little tension here, I'm able to get into these smaller hairs. So I have tilted her head forward, and I like to bring the brush really nice and tight here, because with a blowout like this, we need to have a lot of tension to the hair. So we are going to turn our blow dryer on and focus on our first section. So a couple things you'll notice as I'm working through this section. I start at my A section, that very base, and you won't see me go slow through the ends. I'm really focusing on that base getting dry and smooth with a lot of tension. Then I'm moving on to the mids, still ignoring the ends, and I'm focusing on getting those a lot of tension and nice and smooth. Then lastly, I'm going on to those ends, and when I get to the ends, I'm really rolling my brush, because that's where I want to get those ends nice and smooth. And then once I've gotten all three sections smooth, then I'm going to do almost like a twirl. Now, I like to do this on the first section with a new client because I want to see how their hair is going to react. So she's definitely getting a beautiful bend to her hair. She's still got that bouncy curl to it. But what I'm actually going to do once I've checked where that curl pattern is at, is I'm going to roll the hair back up, and we're going to lock that brush in. So this is where the color changing brush is really helpful. So when it turns gold, you know that that's warm. We're going to allow the brush to stay in the hair as it cools. That's going to help the curl and that bend and wave to hold in the hair. When I look at my brush, I can tell that the brush has cooled down as it starts to turn black. So we're going to continue working up the head. I'm going to take another about 1 inch section horizontally across. So when I've taken this section, now I'm checking the width of her head. If I go in with my brush and take this entire section, while I could get all the ends in there, what I'm not going to be able to do is get close enough to her base to really smooth over here in these corners. So I'm going to divide this into 2 sections so that I can have better control of where her frizz is getting smoothed down. And we're going to do this section the exact same way. Focus on A, then B, then C. So here we rolled that brush up as soon as we were done. You can see that the color is still gold, and we rolled it all the way up so that it can cool nice right there. So as you can see with this section, I've locked both brushes in. The brush we started with, you can look down here and you can already see that it's turning black and starting to cool. So that lets me know we're good. We've let it set in a little bit, and we can pull that out and see that beautiful bouncy wave there. So we're going to let this one set a little bit longer while we section our next area. All right, so as we're working our way up the head, a couple things you'll see me do as we get to the more top sections. One, you're gonna see me start turning my brush vertically. That's gonna allow me to really push the hair in the direction that I want it to start going, so we don't see any gaps from the front. So that's gonna help really push that wave back and away from her face. The other thing you're gonna start seeing me do is blow drying with some over direction. So as we move towards the top, we wanna get a little more volume at the base there. So you're always still gonna see me blow drying the hair in the direction that the hair grows, but I will flip the section upside down and I'll blow dry this way, letting that base have a lot more volume than when we're pulling the tension down. That also allows us, when we're doing our final lock-in with our brush, we're gonna pull it all the way up. Previously, we pulled it down and rolled it up, but for our top sections, we're going to pull it up and roll it. That way you can see the base has nice over direction so that we get a little more volume as we work our way up the head. So we're gonna be taking diagonal forward sections here. We're gonna take about 1-inch sections, diagonal forward, and we're gonna do the exact same technique we did throughout the entire back. So especially around the face, it's super important that we're using our brush parallel to the section we're taking. If we try to go in a different area, we're not gonna get the same tension all the way up to the base, which is super important for curly hair. So because I took that diagonal forward section, I need to place my brush parallel to that section so I can get even tension to smooth out all that wave. So we finished off on her side sections, and now we're gonna move on to the mohawk section. So when I work through this section, I'm going to take the same thing, 1-inch sections, horizontally across the section, and we're gonna blow everything backwards. Here we are with the final result from our round brush blowout. I love that it still has volume and movement. I love the smile that it brings to her face. Just something a little different, especially for our curly haired clients. So it's nice and smooth, but it still has a natural feel to it. We added a little hairspray, but it still has movement to that hair. And I love that it just really still frames her face, and it really incorporated all the tools we wanted to use today. So this is our final look, and we will see you next time.